So, right, let's move on then to, some would argue, championship contenders, Manchester City. They have been, let's just say, taking the piss in terms of transfer fees this year. They have signed, I believe they've spent almost upwards of £200 million on fullbacks alone. 50 million for Kyle Walker, 52 million for Mendy, and half that for Danilo, and then 33 million for Ederson, a new goalkeeper who, quite frankly,
wasn't that 35?
Yeah, something along those lines, 35.
Yeah, I read 35.
Yeah. So overall, they've given about 75 million to Monaco alone for two players, 50 million to Spurs for Kyle Walker. Yeah, it's
I still can't. That's ludicrous.
It is ludicrous, isn't it?
I know Ian, you probably have a bit of an opinion on Ederson coming in. But as my cousin is a massive Benfica fan, when he heard Ederson was on his way out, he said he did a jig. He's not. Ederson did a job for Benfica, but was not in any way reliable. So it will be. He just said, I can't wait to see him deal with Premier League standard shots coming in. But I don't know. Spending 50 million on Kyle Walker, I think he deserves to be relegated just on that decision.
Absolutely. I mean, he wasn't even the best right back at Spurs, let alone in the league.
But he's now the world's most expensive defender.
That just makes me want to vomit.
Yeah.
Their other signings are they're good, and they're extremely overpriced, but they have shored up a defence that, Bakary Sagna and Gael Clichy and never really looked airtight. Glassman Company, you can't rely on him as much as I rate him as a player. You can't, rely on him to be match fit.
Yeah.
So it was an area where that they need. I think they have a super team. But I just think they have. I don't know what to make of them. Like, year in, year out, they spend billions on players, and it just, they don't inspire me with confidence this year. They spent a lot of money on defensive players. I'm not entirely sure. Like, Aguero, he's getting to a stage where he could miss a few games through injury, and he's, who else do they have up front then that they can kind of rely on game in, game out for goals?
Well, that'd be Gabriel Jesus.
Well, to be honest with you, I think that Jesus guy is just fucking brilliant.
Yeah. Especially considering, like I said, he just kind of stepped in for like a few games and scored more or less once every game. And he is, I think he's exactly the forward that Guardiola, do you hear me talking? That Guardiola should be looking for in his side. Like I said, it's like I said, I think that's when it comes to the option. I think, given the choice, I think Jesus would get the nod over Aguero, at least short term. Long term, sorry. Long term.
Maybe, yeah. The funny thing, what we were about to say, that contrary to how you started off, that they spent 200 million just on fullbacks, there's still, again, this is still a top-heavy team. When I look at it, that central defence is just creaking. And not only that, but the midfield in front of that, with Yaya Toure being 34, Fernandinho is 32.
Yeah.
Vincent Kompany is 489. They're heavily dependent on Gundogan, who, by the way, is just a mercurial. Yeah, Gundogan. He's just a mercurial, gifted player. But my Christ, he's made out of wafer, and this is coming from an Arsenal fan.
Yep.
So I know they can't address everything in one window, but fuck me, like, they really need. I think I find that team. I see that team having no spine.
Yeah, it is that kind of team really when you look at it, because in terms of go on ahead. Sorry.
And to compound it, they've got Ederson, the goalkeeper, who's I think he's just got a reputation for being a big kicker of the ball, and he likes to play outside the box. Which, when you've got a defense like they have, isn't really the best.
No, not at all.
Really want. I find him doing a Bravo and taking the piss with the ball at his feet quite often. I didn't watch a whole lot. Didn't watch a whole lot of Benfica stuff, but I watched a few clips of it, and he's a sharp stopper. He's basically pretty much he's a heart with a bit of footwork. Good shots. He's a good shot stopper, but that's pretty much it. You get up in his face, give him a bit of a press, and he'll crumble.
In terms of
aging defense, he's going to be exposed.
Yeah, like I said, it is as much to your point, Neil. It is a very top heavy team, and it's a very intentionally kind of top heavy as well. In terms of like as in from like midfield to like attack, more or less like from for like the starting 11. This is probably the strongest the strongest starting 11 that we have in the league. Maybe with exception maybe to either United or Spurs, just for first 11 alone. But as much to your point as well, like there are a lot of frailties in that. Like again, you were saying about Liverpool and ifs. Well, I would prefer there's a lot of ifs in this team as well. If Company can stay fit, if Gundogan can stay fit, if like Edison can figure out what goalkeeping is in England, if Kyle Walker can prove his worth, which he won't, if Mendy can build in and justify his wage. But like I don't think there's any denying that this team has fucking goals. Like they have some of the most remarkable creative talent in the midfield. Like if you look at the midfield, you could have got a choice between Gundogan and Fernandinho as your fulcrum of your team. Then you have David Silva and Kevin De Bruyne, and of course Fabian Delph. But you also have like phenomenal wingers like Sané, Sterling, Bernardo, and then you have fucking then you have Aguero and Jesus. Like they're spoiled for choice in terms of attackers. It is just the back end of the team is the problem. I still think they're in the market for a centre back. There's no way they can survive on just Company, Stones, and Otamendi. It's just not going to work. And especially since like Mangala is so useless, he's not even given a fucking shirt number. And again, another thing I kind of touch on this because they have a touch of the Chelsea's as well. Like Man City have some decent young players in the system. Like Jason Denayer is a very good player, and kind of proved that with the loan signings. He's like Galatasaray and Celtic. He's a very like imposing player, very kind of like a Van Dijk type of player, but hasn't had the opportunity to prove it. Paddy Roberts, he was at Celtic last year and is now back at the team full time. He's not going to get.
Foden is great, isn't it?
What's that?
Foden is great.
Foden is good as well. Yeah, he got a run out of two. But once again, they're not considered whatsoever for the first team, and that's very much a frustrating thing about these type of clubs like Man City and Chelsea. They obviously have just like spent money to get work like these top players, but are not looking at home. Like I said, you could easily fix your defensive frailties by deploying Denayer in the midfield and just or in the defence and giving him a go. See how he does. Likewise, if you're struggling for like fitness with Bernardo or he's out of form, give Paddy Roberts a go. He's 20 years old. He's English. Jesus Christ, you can make something out of the kid, rather than like having Gabriel Jesus and third-party ownerships raiding the team. Like I said, for me, if everything clicks, this is an unstoppable team. But that is a big if.
Based on that, when I was thinking about it today, there are too many ifs, I think, for this team to challenge. I think on paper, Now, I could be talking out my arse here, but like, I just don't feel that they have it. Now, come back to me in a few weeks, and they could have completely.
It all depends on the start, doesn't it? I mean, when you look at it, you need these players to hop on straight away. They've got the best start possible with Brighton. It goes without saying. Whether they can continue that on then with like matches against Everton and us, that depends to be seen. But like I said, they have no excuse about the first match of the season. Like it's against Brighton, you should win that game, no doubt.
Yeah, but I don't like them just for their, their whole ethics of just buy everyone so we have all of the people.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you can't deny they've got an amazing squad. I just hope that they don't gel.
Yeah, I think most people hold that out too.
The thing is that the pressure is on them. Like Guardiola simply has to win it. He's already spent 400 million in over a year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's not including the purchases that he directed while Pellegrini was still manager.
That's true. Yeah. Oh dear.
And so I'm like, that's pressure right there. And to be honest with you, I think over our previous podcasts, our predictions about City haven't been entirely, although our predictions haven't been entirely accurate, full stop.
True.
Yeah.
But I think the one prediction I think we came up with that has been pretty accurate is that Guardiola has been found out.
Yes, I mean, in a sense, like that's what's going to happen when you've gone from a team like Barcelona to Bayern Munich, the elite, like not even the elite, but the teams that own the monopoly on the league you're in, and then you move. Let's face it, a step down to Manchester City, who are trying to run the monopoly but are not there, and the reason for that is because there's way too much competition and people have been there first.
Yeah.
As you're absolutely right in that sense. Like he wasn't going to get the same sort of service. I think is the best thing to say for Guardiola. He wasn't going to get the same treatment. He had to physically work at it, and I think in a sense he was kind of caught out. He was very annoyed at times over the seasons when he was like losing points to Burnley or like stuff like that. Like it didn't compute to him that he was losing points to a team with the collective worth of a Werther's original, and like this is his world like elite team.
And consistency as well.
Yeah, that's the thing. As like my team is so much more expensive and talented and youthful and energetic and better and better and better than Johnny fucking Walters. Why am I losing? It just didn't compute to him, and I think it still doesn't. He's just kind of hoping that reality will fucking like bend to his will. Can
you do a cold, wet Saturday evening in New Stoke?
That is the question, Burke. It is even wetter.
Real Stoke.
I think you find
essentially, the reality what his will was is that Guardiola was hyped as a manager who builds up teams, coaches players, helps them improve, gives youngsters chances, blah, blah, blah. No, the reality is that he's a checkbook manager. He signed probably 15 players for close to £500 million in about 18 months. He's very quick to dump players rather than coach them or help them improve. And he's flogged off Iheanacho, who was touted as the gem of their academy, to a fucking rival. And I don't know. It's bad. And do you see any of the other academy gems getting any chance, like Darabayo, Sancho, Diaz, or we mentioned Foden before?
They're all loaned
out.
They're all loaned out. They've done Chelsea and they just loaned out all their star players, and they're not going to give them a chance.
In fact, actually, Sancho wants out, full stop.
Yeah.
Because there's no route to the first team.
And he's right too. He's right.
And the most he can really hope for is that Iheanacho doesn't go on to score by the dozen for Leicester.
And justifies him not leaving, I suppose. But again, what else does he have to do then? He's just going to get loaned out to anywhere in fucking Europe. Like Man City doesn't have a relationship with any team like Chelsea and Vitesse Arnhem do. You could just find yourself, thanks for joining Manchester City. You're now going to Norway.
Chelsea and Vitesse Arnhem don't really have a relationship. That's more of a hostage situation.
Yeah, it's more like it's more master and slave, if anything.
Yeah. But I think it all boils down to City spent 50 million on Kyle Walker. They deserve to lose.
I don't think we could put it any better. Speaking of, you were talking about checkbooks. Then let's move over to the opposite side of Manchester United. The one I suppose positive we can take from the Neymar deal is that it's completely overshadowed the £100 million that Manchester United had to sign to get Romelu Lukaku. But let's talk about it first of all. It wasn't the only deal they'd done. Obviously, we talked about Matic, who I think is the more crucial deal in my view.
Yeah.
And obviously deciding to do centre back in Victor Lindehoff Nielsen from Benfica. So, does this make them championship contenders or championship favourites?
Top 4 favourites, but not contenders.
Mm-hmm.
I have an ominously bad feeling about United this season. I can see them kind of getting back to the United of old insofar as they will brute their way into winning the match. May not win it on possession or shots on goal, but a lucky deflection here and just the Super Cup against Real Madrid. Lukaku got a very well taken goal in that. So yay, he's off to a scoring start, I suppose, at the club.
Mm-hmm.
Which is terrifying in terms of if he does well, United are going to do well.
Yeah.
I don't know whether I trust their midfield. They've got Matic and Mata. And Valencia out in the wing still, how he's still running whatever kind of motor oil he's using.
He is 32 years old and he's still going around. Like I must say, he is one fit motherfucker. I have to admit that.
I never really rated them, which is weird because I always just thought he was a bit kind of hit and miss with his crossing. They've got Fellaini. Just people like Nate. And I just think that's gonna go their favour.
Man United are a collection of people I hate.
They was Welsh shit. How can I ever give them praise? They did themselves a favour by getting rid of that.
Well, in all fairness, he did go on to score against them, like a couple of winning goals against them.
In goals that can only be described as hilarious.
But yeah. So, I have an ominous feeling that I think they're not done in the transfer window. I think they're going to make one or two decent signings. I'm not sure who they'll be, but I think they do need to strengthen their midfield. But just the ominous feeling I'm getting from them, I see them challenging from the top. Just seeing Lukaku score, and Lindehoff actually seems like a decent defender who knows what he's doing. And I've always rated Chris Smalling. And then they've got the likes of Phil Jones, and they've got half decent backline. So I'm worried.
Yeah, I mean, I think
no one else beat Mourinho with a blind passion, and so therefore I think he'll do well.
Yeah, again, much to your point. Much to your point, actually, I think it's funny you should mention kind of Jose Mourinho here, but this is kind of the trend with the teams that he manages. And the first season is always kind of like a feeler in terms of like what he needs to do and change and fix. I think really though, in Manchester United terms though, I think they were hoping for instant success. They somewhat got it. They got like a League Cup, and they got a Europa League trophy, which I think was very, very good in terms of the quality of football they were playing was fucking atrocious. So in terms of
that's kind of been United's thing, that they don't play good football and they just bully their way into getting results.
And it's funny you should mention bullying as well, because that was going to bring me to my next point. The one thing about this potential first 11 of Jose Mourinho is that all the players on the side are over 6 foot tall, and that is something that we're not seeing with any other team in the Premier League. I think with exception to West Brom, which if anything says so much about Jose Mourinho and his horrible tactics. But there is a logic to it. As you're saying, they're bullying. There's no all their championship rivals have nippy little players. Liverpool have Coutinho and Chelsea have Hazard. You guys have Alexis. Man City has literally any fucking 5 foot fucking magicians that they have. They can all be bullied off the ball if the positioning is correctly, which I think again brings it to my point that Nemanja Matic is going to be potentially the signing of the season in terms of what it's going to do to United's midfield. Because United could have signed N'Golo Kante and it wouldn't have made a fucking blind bit of difference, because the role that they want Matic to do is not a Kante role. the role they want Matic to do is to basically do the what they were doing with Pogba last season, and Pogba was a fucking disaster at. So now that you have someone who's a resolute defensive midfielder who is not going to move for anything on the ball, he's going to be perfectly rigid to his position, and people are going to knock into him. He's going to start the ball rolling with something else. Maybe even Carrick can do that job if he's playing. But Pogba is now going to be freed up in basically this sort of weird, like, basically plays where he wants to sort of roll, like he did at Juventus. Again, I think we said that at Juventus he had Andrea Pirlo doing the same job behind him, giving him free reign ahead of him. So I think Pogba now is going to be the real standout player for United this season, because now he has free reign to do whatever he wants. Lukaku, I think, is going to be a consistent goal scorer, very ominous goal scoring form as well. Has some fantastic backup in Martial, Rashford, Lingard, Mata, Mkhitaryan, Herrera. Like, there's so many creative fucking geniuses working there in that team. They're probably not going to score that many goals, but Lukaku is going to be the focus for that. Like, he will get 25 goals this season, no doubt. Whether that's
he'll wins,
Yeah, whether he gets a golden boot is not an issue.
Like, I think I agree with you that they've got so much creative talent there, but I think that's pretty much all their team really is. I think it's going to be more of a case of too many cooks will spoil that broth.
Maybe.
In that all these creative players kind of, like, Lukaku can't be the outlet for everybody.
No, that's true.
And Lingard, I'm not really sure. Rashford, Jose doesn't even rate him, and I think Rashford knows that. Lingard as well. I don't like. I think I agree with Rachel in that. I don't think they'll do well. I hope they don't do well, but they probably will. One thing I will say, like, they have not solved their left back position, which I'm quite happy about.
Yet.
Yes, yeah, exactly. They still only have Luke Shaw, and while Shaw is actually a solid player, over the last couple of years or so, he's been criticised openly by Mourinho, and even Van Gaal's laid into him for a while for not having a good work ethic. So it'll remain to be seen whether or not they solve that.
Yeah, I think they were trying to sign Fabinho. I think was the main target for them, but that didn't work out. And as far as a weird kind of season, weird kind of summer for United as well, because they haven't really got all the players they wanted to get. I think they've given up more or less on Perisic, and now they're trying to go for Gareth Bale of all fucking people, which is smart, because of course Real Madrid are going to sell Gareth fucking Bale. Oh, idiots. But anyway, like I said, I think, like, if they wanted to get a left back, there's not that much of a market for them for left backs out there now, because Man City more or less bought all of them. So you're kind of stuck there unless you sign Danny Rose. That's probably the best they're going to get. In terms of,
I don't know, maybe he'll turn around to Marshall and offer Marshall a last ditch method into the team if he repurposes him as a left back.
I could not think of a more wasted talent than putting Anthony Martial as left back, and quite frankly, I wouldn't put it past Jose Mourinho to even suggest that. I really wouldn't. Like, he's such a fucking dirtbag, he would actually do that. I really, really would. Like, he's like, hey, do you know how, like, you're going to be World Player of the Year? Yeah, fuck that. Get in the fence. He's just such a misanthrope. He's such an unpleasant man. And the thing is, like, this is how Mourinho works. The first season is the feeler, the second season is where he wins the Premier League, and the third season is when he gets sacked. So if we can just endure this season where he's, like, up his own hole and wins a trophy, then we can go away the next season, and that would be great.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Hopefully that's the goal.
Yeah. Right, let's move on then to our final promoted team of the season, and that is Newcastle United. It's good to be back, Neil, isn't it? It's good to see them back.
It really is. It's good to see Rafa back. It's good to see Newcastle back. It's not good to see Mike Ashley back.
No, well, yeah, can't have them all.
Although I suppose you can't really have everything.
Yeah.
And in all fairness, they have not really started life well in the Premier League. I think they're really hoping on the Rafa effect, if indeed that is a term. It's just they really need to start signing people.
Yes, that's the thing.
That midfield is so fucking thin. I'm fairly certain I could get a game there. It's so bad. Like, To be honest with you, I look at that team and I'm not overtly enthused, and I really want to be, because I don't know why, but I have an unreal soft spot for Newcastle, and I quite like Rafa Benitez as well as a manager.
Yeah.
So you've got like two things I really like, and they're together, and I'm like, yeah, great. And then Mike Ashley comes in and farts in the lift, and I'm like, oh no, but I still have Rafa. No.
It's a real toss-up, isn't it?
I'm kind of the same ilk there, that it's, I don't know, it's probably because I grew up with Newcastle being a team in the Premier League, unlike Watford. That I always just assume they're there.
Who are a thing still? Party? What? No?
Like Newcastle, it was very weird to see them in the Championship. Growing up with their, they were never really title contenders when I was following the league and buying Match every week. But it's that kind of nostalgia of having Newcastle back in the league. It's like, yeah, I'm going down to spend my pocket money on Match and get trump cards, and that kind of stupidness.
Yeah, it's back to the fucking good old days of football, isn't it, Burkball? We used to watch the Premiership live with Des Lynam on ITV. Fucking good old days those was. When all the footballers had fucking polio. And Kevin Keegan would love it if they beat them. You love it!
They've made a couple of weird signings, I would say. But from good teams, they've got Atsu from Chelsea.
Solid signing that.
He seems like a good prospect. But again, slightly improvement. They got Stefan O'Connor, who is from our youth academy.
Yeah.
Again, O'Connor never looked like he was going to break into the first team with us. He's kind of one of these players that, you kind of see an Irish name and you're like, oh yeah, how's he doing? Oh, not great. Then a couple of people I've never heard of, and then Manquillo from Atletico Madrid. Again, it's a good team. He's coming from that, he could do well, but I don't know. They need to make more than that. They do need to kind of strengthen the squad and get in a couple of real game-changing first-team players.
Yeah.
I think the whole thing was that Benitez wasn't happy with what was being done in terms of transfer negotiations, and there was talks that he could, leave. And from what I see, they haven't done too much to deter him from leaving as a result of that. I don't know whether they saw it as an empty threat or whatever, but there wasn't. I don't know what they've done to make him stay, so I don't know. I could see him being a managerial casualty this year.
I think it's certainly possible. I mean, I would certainly agree with you in the terms that whatever business that Rafa would want to do would want to have been done now. And at least even when you look at the team, fucking hell, there are a lot of holes, as Neil was saying, in central midfield. I think they need another striker up front. And I think the main thing for me is that there's no teams, the players that they got in, like Manquillo, as you were saying, former Liverpool man, former Sunderland man as well. Lads like Jacob Murphy, young lad from Norwich, who I think is their biggest signing, £14 million. It was a crazy money for it. And a few like Atsu, a lot of young players. Lejeune is a very good player actually from Eibar. He'll be a good player for them. But the critical thing there is there's no Premier League experience, which I think is a crucial criteria for any promoted teams, no matter how big they are, whether it's fucking Newcastle or Brighton or Huddersfield. There's no heartbeat of the team there as well. When you look at that, you can't look at that team and say I don't and guess who their captain is. Their captain is John Joe Shelby, for fuck's sake. That's who they're going for as their heartbeat of the team, the most mercurial fucking renegade midfielder they could get for. And like I say, there's no I know Rafa is doing his best with game management and stuff like that, but you do need leaders on the pitch. And in their defence, it's hard to get players like that, proven Premier League players right now, and they're going to be an improvement on what you have. like I said, I kind of based my prediction on Newcastle. First of all, they're definitely staying up. First off, just to say that, but I based my experience or my prediction somewhat on them actually getting the business done. I believe that they're going to sign a new goalkeeper. I think they're going to sign a new central midfielder, proven central midfielder, and they're going to sign a new striker. I don't know who they're going to get, but I do believe that that's the business they're going to get done. Because I think if it's only in Mike Ashley's best interest to get those deals done, or else Rafa Benitez walks after deadline day. Simple as that.
Yeah.
You know, if that ultimatum was set, then Mike Ashley would do that.
Yeah, you see, you're judging that on Mike Ashley actually acting like a rational, normal human being, when in actual fact he's a fat gas bag who looks like somebody filled a Hoover bag full of out-of-date yogurt. It's so weird. All he has to do is just support Rafa financially.
Yeah.
And he just won't do it. I'm so pleased that Rafa has rebuilt his reputation after the character assassination that was Real Madrid.
Yeah.
But to be honest with you, I don't, like you said, they need a new goalkeeper. They need an entirely new set midfield, to be perfectly honest with you. When Voldemort is your fucking midfield anchor.
Yeah, you're not exactly...
You're not exactly... Yeah. And to be honest with you, I did kind of pick up on Newcastle in the Championship a bit, and I remember thinking, fucking hell, that midfield gets run past quite a lot. And if that happens in the Championship...
Yeah.
What do you think is going to happen come the Premier League? And yeah, they do need a new striker because they've no steel, they've no leadership, and I think it's a very real worry that they're going to get overrun.
Like I said, like there's nothing stopping them like going into the loan market and getting experienced players. Like if you were to, like say, if someone were to say like, if they were to go to us and say, okay, we'll take Lazar Markovic off your hands, we'd be fucking delighted with that. You know, just even as a loan deal, because then if he does have a stellar season for Rafa, then we can have him back and he's in the first team. In the same way with you guys, how many like players could you loan to fucking Newcastle right this minute? Would you give Jack Wilshere?
That's it.
Yeah, you give Welbeck to them. You know, there's a lot of experienced players you can get through a loan if you're happy to pay their wages. Maybe obliged to sign them next season like they have with the young lad from Dortmund, Marino. You can get deals like that done for established players. It is a lot of work though, and you do need to like slog out a lot of details, and that may be too much work for Mike Ashley. That might be the problem. There's also a lot of turmoil in the backroom staff as well, so it's hard to say.
Absolutely. I was thinking more so that Rafa would go to what he knows best and try and plunder the Spanish leagues.
I thought he was going to do that more, and he hasn't. That's what I'm surprised at.
Yeah, I know. I was thinking like he might uncover another Michu or some shit like that, you know?
Well, I think I'd argue that Lejeune is that sort of player because I've even like seen his stats from the last season, and he looks like a really top player. He is a very good player who played in a very poor, like I don't know, I'd say poor team, but in a very like a kind of like what I would call a Spanish Burnley in a sense. Like he would be like that type of Michael Keane player that he was at Eibar, that was leading the front line and looks very, very good. Problem is though, he hasn't done it in a Premier League. He hasn't got anywhere near the Premier League, which is again a question mark on that. Like I said, I like even from there are some really raw talents there. Like Mitrovic is a fantastic talent. Perez is great. Like Shelby on his day can be fantastic. It is just getting them getting all the ducks in a row, and getting players like Atsu and Murphy to perform. And as I said, like just getting the players in is a real problem for Newcastle. I think they've waited too long now to get players for pre-season. Now you have to work on the back foot now. Who could you get in that's already like fit and ready to go, who is either angling for a move or would be eager to go and prove themselves at Newcastle. It's going to be an interesting few weeks, and unfortunately they're probably going to get a slow start to the season as a result. You know, it has to be said. I think once they got their act together and do get the recruitment sorted, they are going to be a good side. But until then, it's going to be pretty tough for them starting off.
No, I think it's
a pessimistic view for them. Like I said, I feel Benitez is going to either leave or get sacked as a result of strops or just infighting among the manager.
I could certainly see a power struggle there somewhere down the line. That's for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
No, I see them. I see them finishing 50th.
Ooh.
Same as me.
Snap. Yeah. I like that. I like it. Snap. Okay. Moving on then. Let's move very swiftly on to Stoke City. I have absolutely nothing to say about Stoke City. They've signed. Let's just get their news out of the way. I don't think they've actually correct me if I could be wrong about this, but I don't believe they've actually spent any money this year. They got Zuma on a loan. I think they could have paid a bit for the loan fee.
I think that Darren Fletcher.
Yeah, that was a free deal.
If you can count him as anything but a scarecrow.
Yeah, no, but he was a free deal as well. They also got a lad from Hull on a free deal. They got
Eric Maxwell Choupo-Moting. Oh my god, there's another great name.
Yeah, Chupo. He's apparently you're just supposed to call him Chupo. That's what he's insisted.
Choupo-Moting.
Yeah, it's this is like the baseline definition of inertia for me. Like this is a team going fucking nowhere fast. It really is. And when you look at some of the players in the squad, like fucking Shaqiri and Berahino and who could ever forget the wonders of Charlie Adam? Like this is a team that's going fucking nowhere. You know, it's sad because there are good players in there like Joe Allen and Jack Butland, but Jesus Christ, being in this squad with Mark Hughes as the manager at the moment is fucking soul crushing for me.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, sorry, go for it.
No, I just hate Stoke, so I'm glad they're going nowhere. I actually don't see them going nowhere. I see them going down.
Ooh, that is very, very interesting. I'll say why
not
in a
only,
few minutes.
Not only that, but I also see them as having the first managerial casualty.
Very interesting indeed.
To be honest with you, I don't understand how. In general, I don't understand how any Stoke fan can have any optimism. But really, particularly for this season, I don't see how they've lost Walters, Arnautovic, they've lost Whelan, Bardsley, Indy, and there's nobody. I'm like, when your best signing is Kurt Zuma.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
They've no fullbacks. That team has zero width.
Yeah.
They haven't even replaced Arnautovic, who was one of their best players, which in and of itself says so much. I don't think Shaqiri's going to do anything.
No, Shaqiri is just not interested, to be honest. He's there to pick up a paycheck and that's it. You know, we saw that last season.
To be honest with you, I'm surprised he's interested enough to even put on the fucking jersey.
He might not do so. You might see him walk out in the fucking Nike tracksuit this year.
Absolutely. I'm half expecting him to wander out in the middle of one of the League Cup games in his fucking pants. And spend the game shaking balls into the fucking stand. No, I see them going down. I have Stoke at 18th.
Oh.
Ooh. Again, this is very, very interesting when we get to our Premier League table, because I think we might have all gone for the same thing.
Ooh.
So, yes, that's pretty much all we have to say. What I will say about Stoke is, I will apologise for the futures of the following players. Jack Butland, I'm sorry that you're at Stoke. Josh Tymon, I'm sorry that you signed for Stoke. Joe Allen, I'm just sorry. Saido Berahino, I'm sorry but not sorry. And Peter Crouch, I loved you once. So that's pretty much it. I
would redress that with Saido Berahino. You deserve this.
Yeah.
That's too. And also Maxim Choupo-Moting, you have no idea what you're getting yourself in for. Yes. So the one team I did miss actually in my list was Southampton. Someone skipped a cue about that. Sorry about that. New manager, new look Southampton. They have more or less kept the team the same, really. I must say, I thought that Pellegrino was going to make more widespread changes than he has. Although I will say he's made a stellar signing in Mario Lemina. That was done today.
Oh well.
So that's done. It's £20 million, and it's a fucking solid deal. I have to say that
that is a great deal.
It is a great deal considering that not a few months ago we would have been watching him in the Champions League final. So, like I said, it's a solid deal for Southampton if they're going to get that sort of caliber of, shall we say, future Liverpool players on the books. Then absolutely, that's the sort of thing I want to see. So, I suppose I'd like to hear how you guys weigh in on Virgil van Dijk, seeing that we're on Southampton.
I hate the petulant thing of, I'm not going to train with the team because I'm demanding my transfer. I want all that money. In saying that, he's a solid defender. Did fantastic last season. Any team that does sign him is going to get a quality signing.
Yeah.
But in terms of character, like, I can't see what's so. I don't know. If I was a club going in for a player and say, "Hey, we're interested in signing you," and I don't know how clubs do that. I doubt it's done informal, but and then the player's like, "Oh yeah, I'm doing that," and then inwardly fights with the whole team that he's playing with, and kind of just shows a lack of respect, and I don't know why that's. I suppose respect. Is there much respect for clubs anymore in football? But I just think it's quite disrespectful to demand transfer like that. You kind of see that more and more. We've heard loads of it this summer, where people who are being linked with teams away and causing training ground bust-ups and
especially when
force their way out.
Especially when you consider that Van Dijk signed a 6-year contract last May.
Yeah. For me, that would put me off signing a player if they acted like that.
Yeah.
And if they're that petulant about getting moved to your club, what are they going to be like in the dressing room? Are they going to, I don't like this song, I'm not playing, in the warm-up? Or, like stupid stuff like that. Like, are they going to be that petulant? Balotelli.
Well, see, it's funny because we're kind of like, at least from a Liverpool standpoint, and at least from what I can remember, we had the same problem with Dejan Lovren, because he had the stellar season with Southampton, and then he got the hump then when he realised that we were after him and Southampton didn't want to sell. So he refused to play, and Southampton eventually acquiesced and sold him to us. Now the problem with that was that in the season he signed, he was a fucking disaster, because he was like way out of position. He was like losing. I think he pretty much lost every 1-to-1 battle he had with an attacker, and he was making like Daniel Agger look much better, considering he only had one groin muscle left. And Martin Skirtle, again, same thing. He was like, literally only had like a half a leg left before he got shipped off to Turkey. And like both of them were like better options than Lovren was. It was only until Klopp came in did Lovren actually make improvements. And even still, like if we had the choice of Van Dijk or Lovren, we'd take Van Dijk and ship Lovren off to fucking Southampton if we were to do a swap deal. So like I said, it is a sort of trade off that if the player is desperate for a move that much, then psychologically he could sabotage himself by just fucking around and trying too hard to impress. Now, apparently, Van Dijk is not that sort of personality. This is what people are saying about him, that he is genuinely like level-headed, but he feels that he's not making any progress with Southampton. He wants to compete in Europe. He wants to be like in a national team, and he's not going to get that with Southampton, which, in my view, is fair enough, because again, Southampton are feeling the same sort of inertia that Everton are now. They're only going to be the 8th best team in England, possibly 7th.
That was very obvious for it's not as if Southampton being a kind of upper mid-table groundhog team is anything new. People have known this for years. Van Dijk has known that for quite a while.
Yeah,
he's known that since they signed him. Why sign a new 6-year contract though?
But isn't that the norm nowadays? Look how many like long-term contracts players are signed for, and then they get sold off the first year. To be honest with you, I don't read that much into the long-term contracts, because the way I see it, I think that's just solid business from the clubs, because that means that then you get an extra bit of transfer fee to buy out the contract. Like the transfer fees nowadays, the bulk of it is to buy out the contract that they've agreed on, and they've only there's 5 years left, so there's 5 years worth of salary and severance they have to sort out. That's why I think that's one reason why it's at least one of the reasons why transfer fees are so inflated nowadays, because everyone has long-term contracts, everyone has bonuses, everyone has agents' fees. That's why when you look at any fees for Virgil van Dijk, they're at least £50 million, and most of that is probably going down to the players' wages. He's probably on a hefty wage every week, and and Liverpool or Chelsea or Arsenal, whoever ends up signing him, has to pay that up first and then pay the club. You know, it's even when you look at some of the deals for Lukaku. Lukaku signed a big fucking contract with Everton and sold him off the next year. Like, it's just business by the clubs now to do that, to secure the top assets for a long-term deal and then sell them off the next year. Like, we do it, we're going to do it with Coutinho next season more than likely, and we're not going to be surprised by it because it is a common practice now by the clubs.
Yeah.
You know,
it's a sad state of affairs.
It's the nature of the beast. That's what it is.
Oh yeah, but it's going to be this whole thing of, are you going to buy a player's shirt anymore because you're just going to have to get a new one the next year?
Yeah.
Like, you know, our shirt sale is going to be worth a damn anymore because people are just going to be having to get it removed or whatever because they're gone.
Well, one would argue, Burkbot, I think the money they're going to be making from transfer fees will very much outweigh the shirt sales. So, be swings and roundabouts on a business standpoint.
Well, to be honest with you, like, getting back to the team, kind of, with regards to Van Dijk, funnily enough, Southampton kind of have issues all over the pitch. Their main issue is actually up the other end. With regards to signing, I mean, they've signed FUWBAWLL, who's all the talent in the world.
Yeah,
now
didn't do it really.
He needs to start doing shit. Pellegrini has to solve the Ward-Prowse issue, in that he quite possibly has the worst first touch I have ever seen in my entire life. It's ridiculous, and I implore you to actually watch him. Right, it's really interesting. The ball's coming towards him, and he actually coils himself really, really tight, and he's ready to sprint in whatever direction the ball breaks to go and collect it. And it's just so embarrassing for a player at that level. It means that he's only ever able to play the way that he's facing, and often his body position isn't actually right to play the ball forward, even sideways. And when you put him out on the right, that's a serious problem. That means all he can do is pretty much just pass back to Cedric, who is generally forced to go, fuck this, and just lump it down the line. You know?
Yeah. I think, now, that being said, like, I think Pellegrino is going to have a much better quality of play than Puel did. I think the problem with Puel was that he wasn't really playing like a Southampton team that we know now has played, like one under Pochettino and Koeman. I think the play is going to be a lot more open. I think lads like Tadic and Redmond are going to get a new lease of life. Gabardini as well. I think the midfield is going to be really fascinating to look at, because there are some seriously talented players in that midfield. Like BUFFALL, you mentioned there, Neil, is one of them who I think hasn't fulfilled his potential. Holberg is another one.
Lamina as well. I was about to agree with you. Like, BUFFALL looked sharp and confident, but he was so bad last season. He pretty much got Puel the sack all on his own. So do you back him as your most talented player? Like, Tadic is a great, very talented player, but I've never seen a bigger coward. Where do you play him? Where does he start? Do you put him out on the right? Fuck no. You might as well start. You might as well just play with 10 men.
Yeah,
you back him as your 10.
Tough, isn't it?
He's not going to do it. You know, what do you do? Do you give him the number 10 and tell him, look, I don't want to see you in your own half ever, and try that shit? You know.
That's the thing. I think reason why Puel got the sack in the end was because there's no real standout players breaking into the team. I suppose the one exception would be probably Jack Stevens, and he wasn't he's not the sort of like Luke Shaw level player coming from the academy that came in. Maybe Matt Targett, but again they're both like defenders, and they're not like world class defenders like Luke Shaw was at the time of leaving. You know, they're players that are they're just genuine professional players that are just trained to be solid. They're not like world beaters like what Southampton
I
wants
just
to
want to
make.
jump in there just saying Luke Shaw at the time of leaving, because he's certainly not world class
That's
anymore.
exactly, yeah. At the time of leaving, when he was like 19, 20, was red hot, and United then ruined him. That's what I'm referring to. I was like, Luke Shaw at Southampton was great. Luke Shaw at United, I feel bad for him.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, no, I with Southampton, I just see them as a regular mid-table team. I think I was given a bit of hope when Pellegrino became their manager. I really like him as a manager. And then just when you say they're after getting Lemina,
yeah.
what was it?
Lemina.
Yeah, like he's just fantastic signing for him. So I don't know. I have a soft spot for Southampton in terms of they have just been consistently great to watch.
Yeah.
And they've been a great asset to just the Premier League in general, kind of providing a mid-table team that can play football. And,
Yeah.
They're
the benchmark for a lot of teams like Bournemouth and Leicester. They are the bar in terms of like a really like good level of football, like good talented players, and a business model that continues like a conveyor belt of talent. The difference is though, like Southampton now reach that level of okay, we're now trying to retain players, but the stigma of a selling club is still there, and Liverpool still wants all of our players. So they're in a weird kind of like fugue state where they're trying to be a big club, but they can't because they're still being treated as a feeder. So it's a weird situation they're in.
Yeah, it's a very odd situation, but I think I don't know. They might again with a few ifs. It's a lopsided squad, but it might just work for them. I mean, Redmond is a very, very good player, and he's only a bit of an improved accuracy away from knocking in 10, maybe 15 goals a season and being a truly top-class winger. Gabardini's got a full pre-season, so he should help knock it in, and they've somehow managed to get Austin fit again.
Yeah, which is good.
That's again, he used to get something out of FUWBAWLL. He used to get something out of Ward-Prowse. I know Ward-Prowse is amazingly still 22, but he somehow, I don't know how that happened, but
I throw Holberg into that one as well. I think considering that he came from the Munich Bayern Munich academy, was red hot, highly rated, and then Southampton the season was a null really, to be honest. So I think it's a big season for those young guns really, because need to get them back.
Yeah, it's a big season. It's a big season for them, and it's a big season for one of the older heads. For instance, Forster had an absolute horror of a season.
Yes.
And oddly enough, he was given a 5-year contract at the end of it.
Go figure.
So, yeah, go figure. So
I wonder where he's off to next.
He needs to fucking buck up.
Yes.
I totally agree with Rachel there. Is that we do need great teams like Southampton for nothing more than getting pillaged season in, season out, and still somehow managing to be up Everton's arsehole, despite Everton actually going, no, we play really good football. How are you so close? You've got you sold 7 players last week. How are you still beating us?
There's only 4 of you left. What the fuck is going on?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right, so. Swansea City then. Let's get this ball on the roll. It's been a very quiet summer for Swansea. A lot of the talk has been very much rotated around Gylfi Sigurdsson. He has gone through the whole round. He's not training. He's transfer request. It was supposedly Everton going for him, but apparently that deal has fallen through now, and now there's nowhere for him to go. Supposedly, now that's supposing that Everton don't come back with a better bid, or a new team joins the battle and gets Sigurdsson either way. But they've more or less signed someone to replace him in Roque Meza. They signed Tammy Abraham, and that's all the business they've done. It's been very quiet for Swansea.
Yeah, with Swansea, they do tend to have quiet transfer, bar, them getting one kind of big name. And their one big name to be holding in onto Sigurdsson this year.
Yeah.
he had a fantastic season last year, which is why he's been, I suppose, scouted and touted by Everton. But I don't know, he's doing the petulant thing, which kind of puts him down, in my opinion. But yeah, I think he's a fantastic player, and I think I would take it that if Swansea managed to hold on to him, they'll treat it as a new signing.
Yeah.
Whether he'll have the will for them to play for them or whatever, I don't know. I don't really. I don't know. They got a guy from Finn Hart. That's the one thing I remember.
That's a start, isn't it? Really.
You know, and I think if anything says Premier League ambition, it's not that. I see them struggling. If they hold on to Sigurdsson, I see them just about scraping in.
Yeah.
My table is based on them holding on to Sigurdsson since those talks are broke down. But for the minute, I have them just scraping in to stay in. But I would hope they do well. I quite enjoy them as a team to watch. But other than that, they're just kind of. I'd like to see them stay, but if they're continuing on this downward kind of spiral that they've been in of not even playing great football last season, then can't really blame them if they go down.
Yeah.
Yeah, same here. I kind of agree with that. I have them in at 16th.
Same.
Yeah. Purely because, alright then, Sigurdsson's future is now no longer up in the air. They've kept Llorente, haven't they?
Yes, I was about to actually mention Llorente, that he's still on the books there.
Yeah, and outside, they've only got really one very good defender, which is Alfie Mawson, who's still 23 and developing. But the thing is that they haven't improved the defense. They shipped 70 goals last season.
Yeah. And like I said, the ratio didn't really improve. They did improve when Clement was in charge, but it's still the same personnel that was shipping those goals.
Absolutely, and they've not reinforced their defense. What the fuck?
I know.
People do realize there's not 70 games in the league.
Yeah, I say it's not goal per game. Like I said, Bob Bradley did happen, so you have to take that into account. Bob Bradley, wow.
To be honest with you, so shoring up their defence and hoping that their board managed to keep their manager for at least a year. I see them really, really struggling, and I see only the shining light of their better players like Llorente and Sigurdsson, of course. Keep them dragging through.
Okay.
Yeah. Sigurdsson provided 13 assists last season. The next nearest player to him had 3.
Yeah, that says it all, really, doesn't it?
Wow.
Right, lads, it's time for Spurs.
Oh, really?
So Spurs finished as runners-up in the Premier League last season. That was after some phenomenal.
Champions of North London, as they like to say.
That is their turn. That is what they're called now, and they would prefer it if you keep it that way. But they do have.
When are you getting that put on a cup?
It's the St. Totteringham's Cup. They've actually just commissioned. They should have had a pre-season tournament call that, just to really rub it in. But I suppose that would result in some sort of effort on their side. But no, truth be told, they had a really good season last year in terms of their performances, best home form of the year, runners-up in the Premier League. Fortunately, didn't really come away with anything. They were still the bridesmaid and never the bride. Now, the thing is, I did mention about the home form.
And the ugly bridesmaid as well.
Well, that's only Harry Kane, let's be fair. But the thing is that their home form was phenomenal last season, but unfortunately, they don't have that anymore, as all their home games are in Wembley this year, and they have a bit of a hoodoo at Wembley as of late. How do we think Spurs are going to do this year with that in mind?
Just one of the things that they were saying at the Community Shield was that Arsene Wenger's best form comes in Wembley Stadium. So apart from the Emirates and Highbury, he has won 90% of his matches at Wembley. So he's got like one of the highest.
Wasn't it? Yeah, our match on Sunday was like 9 in a row.
Yeah.
It was our 9th in a row at Wembley.
So I like the fact that Spuds are going to be playing in a stadium that Arsenal have, a better record than them in.
Well, in all fairness, they did that at Shy Hart Lane as well.
Yeah, that's very true, actually. Yeah.
You get your jobs in whenever you can.
They've made no signings. Again, I think they're going to treat their squad as, we managed to hold on to Kane, we managed to hold on to Ali and Son, and I don't know, I can't name any other squad.
But this is the baffling thing for me, is like that no one has really been looking for them. I think the only person that was really courted was Walker.
The Mahrez kind of deal of they had a good season and they all clicked, but is it going to be a year in, year out thing? I don't think anybody has that opinion. I know Spurs fans who don't have that opinion, that are like, we should sign someone because I don't think Ali's gonna have another season in him like he did last year. I don't know. What's worrying me is that I think they're going to pull out some sort of massive signing, like sign Bale back or something ridiculous that will give them this massive encouragement to think that they can go for 2 in a row of finishing above Arsenal.
But see, this is the kind of the weird problem with it, is that like when we were kind of talking before the summer break, that they do have like one of the a really good squad. Like the team that they've amassed over the years with like Pochettino, they have one of the squad depth is there. Like certainly when you look at it, there's options each way. Even if Harry Kane is in the squad, you still have Janssen there as another centre forward. Sure, he wasn't great, but he's still there on the bench and might put in a shift. Heung-min Son was fantastic last season as well. I can play in as a striker. There's options all the way down. And when you feel like... I think they had this problem last year, really. They had the same sort of situation where they were very content with their squad, but they still felt obliged to sign somebody. And unfortunately, that somebody was £30 million Moussa Sissoko, who is now struggling to get a loan deal out to fucking Turkey. You can see why they're just very anxious not to sign anybody, because in their kind of eyes, they don't need to sign anybody. They feel like their team is good enough to deal with whatever comes their way. They might sign a new right back, or better still, they might actually get one from the academy. I noticed that if they wanted to sign or replace right back Kyle Walker, they do have someone ready placed to replace Kyle Walker in Kyle Walker. Peters.
Yeah, Walker Peters, yeah.
So, and he's a right back as well. Like, he can't make this shit up. Absolutely incredible. But like I said, that's like I look at that team and just say that there's no way to improve that team. You've reached the limit of what they can be, unless, as Bert Bob was saying, you get like a Bale or you get some other superstar. But let's face it, like, would superstars suit this Spurs team? It would probably take away from what the whole trademark of the Spurs team is, which is young prodigies. Like, look at it, like Kane, Ali, fucking Ericsson, I'll throw him in there as well. Like, they're players that you want to go and see and look at them and just go, applaud, take my money, that sort of shit.
I wouldn't agree with that.
Nah, not really.
Well, I would say that's a selling point of Spurs. That's what they are at the moment.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I understand why they've not really signed anybody. It's just, what I don't get is how they think that it's a good thing.
But But look at the side and tell me where would they sign? Who is replacing?
They need a replacement. They need a replacement for Kane. Janssen's not that.
Okay, then who's out there?
Was Janssen would be like another Van Nistelrooy or some shit like that. But it's not going to happen.
The guy's 23. Surely he's still got time to improve.
It's just there's no plan B there. The problem with not signing anybody is that you've left yourself with no plan B. If it doesn't work, you have to wait until January at the earliest, before you can correct things. And I don't know, it's just, they didn't win anything last season.
Yeah.
So, like,
our squad is perfect. We don't need to. We don't need to change anything. And it's like, well, what did you win with your perfect squad? Oh, you won the North London Derby.
Yeah, like this perfect squad managed to crash out of Europe twice last season. Twice.
But and they still consider that, we came away with a trophy at the end of the season. Yet, oh, we finished above you. Spurs this season. It's like, where's your trophy? Look, being an Arsenal fan, it's not like we're expecting trophies realistically all the time. But it's nice to know that we actually have a chance of being in, FA Cup and stuff. That it has been nice to win it. It's been great to actually have a reason to have an open top bus going through North London and that sort of stuff.
But did you not enjoy the open top bus that Spurs had? We're number 2. We're number 2. You don't like that?
We put them under pressure.
We gave them a good rollicking.
Pressure. And that's just
actually that's one of the reasons I think I have such a soft spot for Newcastle is because of that thing 2 seasons ago where relegated Newcastle bet Spurs 5-1.
Well, that's Spurs' first game of the season. I'll remind you, by the way. That's the.
Another 5-1 trashing would be lovely. Thanks, Newcastle. Yeah, no, look, no one can deny that they've got Lloris, they've got Kane, Ashley and Son. The rest of the team, I think, just gelled well. I don't know whether they're actually, individually good players or whether it's just, the whole, the sum of a whole is good.
I think it's partly that, because like I said, there's some really good squad players like Trippier and Davis who put in a good shift, but then you do have those mercurial talents like Eriksen and Ali. It's a good, like I said, it is a decent mix, and sometimes you have those teams where that doesn't happen, where you don't have them gelling. I think Spurs is an exception to that. But like I said, that as you said, how far can that go?
It's hard to see what they're after getting kind of money for Kyle Walker, so they have money to spend.
Yeah. It is just a desire to go out and sign somebody. That's more or less it.
It is difficult to see. I mean, but the thing is that they don't play a perfect game. I mean, Liverpool pretty much ate them alive.
Yeah, that's true.
Last season, when Sané pretty much had Ben Davis on toast for the entire 90 minutes, and it's not that's the thing. Like, not changing heavily infers that it's perfect.
Yes.
And if you look at the evidence, look at the actual evidence, the results, you can't ever reach that conclusion.
Well, I'll put it to you then, Neil, about Wembley. Then, how big a factor is it going to be this season for Spurs?
It's going to be the defining factor for them.
Okay. So, and how far a detriment do you think it's going to be then? Do you think the home form is going to be gone? Do you think it'll disrupt their consistency, or they're not going to play with the same confidence that they would usually?
Well, I think it's gonna. Well, it's the funny thing is that it's either going to go one of two ways. It's either not going to bother them, and they're going to probably finish second again, maybe third, after crashing out of Europe again twice. Or it's going to totally fuck them up and they'll probably drop out of the top 4 again after crashing out of Europe twice.
Yeah. I like that summary. I think if they all gel well, I can't see them gelling well as they did last season.
Okay.
The second season.
Sorry to cut across you there. They will gel as well as they did last season. It's that it's more dependent because they've not changed and everybody else has. It's now dependent on everybody else. If everybody else improves, they're fucked.
Yeah.
Because they've not.
Yeah, like I said.
If Lacazette starts banging them in, we're back in the top 4.
likewise for us, if Salah hits the ground running, then we're in for a hunt. Same thing with like United and City and their signings. They're going they're going contra to what everyone else is doing in the top six, and they are kind of not necessarily banking on it, but they're hopeful that stability will be more prevalent to change. And you never know; it could work out that way. But from my own interpretation, I don't think it will.
No, I don't think it will either.
Okay. Right, Watford then. Let's. Sorry, do you have a point there, Burke? Or?
No. It just fuck Spurs.
Okay. That is a good point.
I can second that.
Watford then. Now, Watford, Burke, is actually a team that's playing in the Premier League, so you might want to write this one down.
Okay.
All right.
I should make a change to unknown on my table.
No worries, we'll work away. I'll give my little spiel then while I'm waiting. Obviously under new management in former Hull boss Marco Silva, very good manager in his own right. How long will it be until he's sacked?
17 minutes.
17. Oh fuck, we better hurry up then. Right, so then Marco Silva then has signed a lot of young players actually. Will Hughes, really good signing from Derby. About 10-12 million pounds. Really watch out for him. Chaloba, that's another good signing as well.
Just on Will Hughes, he's actually one of the players I would know from the Championship, just from constantly being, scoring or getting, assists or whatever. Like, actually just being a decent player, and people talking about how he's going to join a Premier League team, and I was like, well, why is he going to Watford? And then I remembered, the Premier League team.
Yep, that's the case.
Yeah, I look, there's no point in me talking about Watford because I don't know anything about them other than they have Capu.
They do have Capu. That is unequivocal fact. Look, we were actually, myself and Neil were talking before the podcast about their new signing, Richarlison, who was again a cut price deal, 20 years old Brazilian player, and might be a decent hand for the future. I think it's fair to say, Neil.
Oh yeah, as I said there, he is actually the leading under 20 scorer in all of Brazil. Absolutely, he's a Fluminense player, and he does qualify for a work permit, so they won't have to loan him straight back out again. What's not to like? They're about to break their transfer record for a Brazilian forward no one had ever heard of a week ago.
Which seems to be which everyone's fucking doing. Didn't Real Madrid sign a 16-year-old for 60 million euros earlier in the summer, and no one has remembered that because everything else is so fucking crazy this summer. Vinicius Junior.
What happened to that Swedish or Danish wonder kid Odegaard? Do they still have him?
Yeah, probably. I don't know. They might have got rid of him on the sly. If anything, he turned to be the fucking Justin Bieber of football. Just a mess that was. But it's Watford are one of these teams where it doesn't really matter if they do good or bad. The manager's going to get sacked at the end of the season anyway, and the players, whoever they are, going to get sold off to somewhere. It's a very weird kind of system, unless somehow they're doing some sort of revolutionary thing where they're building a team for the future, which I think that's a bit too far out of Watford's remit. I think it's fair to say. Yeah,
the only thing I will say about Watford is that they're resilient. I mean, people have said, oh well, if things change for the worse at Watford, they're going to go down. And I went, well, things couldn't have changed any worse last season.
True.
And they stayed up. So
just about in fairness.
Yeah, there is a thing about having 8 managers in 6 years that doesn't really say stability.
Yes, yes, that's true. In that case, if we're all done with Watford, let's move on
it's also a squad with no fullbacks.
Oh yes, that's true. Yeah, that seems to be a problem. I'm sure they'll fix that somehow by maybe signing some.
Nah, see, put paid to that.
Oh shit, yeah, fuck, I keep forgetting about them.
They bought all of them.
They bought all of them. They have. That's how it works now. So West Bromwich Albion. Neil, do you want to take the lead on this one?
Not particularly.
Burke, what about you? Do you want to take the lead on West Brom?
Yeah, sure. And that's their season.
Okay, moving on then to West Ham United, last team of the preview. They've made some business, it's fair to say. First, two arrivals from Man City, Hart and Zabaleta. Sorry, Habileta, as you're supposed to say it if you don't have a tongue. And big money signings then, Arnautovic and Chicharito. I have to say, I'm pleasantly surprised at West Ham's business.
Yeah, I think they've done really well. They're getting a solid-ish keeper with Hart. And Zabaleta, I've always rated as a defender. I know he's quite kind of at the end of his, tenure, but I think he can still do the job. Arnautovic from Stoke, he's a typical West Ham player, I would say. And Chicharito, I have put him straight into my fantasy football team.
Same here.
He's gonna get goals. I see, I would hope anyway. But based on his kind of history in the Premier League, he's done it, and I think he can still do it. So
yeah. I genuinely feel like this deal for West Ham is one of the deals of the season. Like, it really is. Like, the price they got him for was £16 million, and when you look at the money thrown around for strikers this season, like when you look at it, like every club has more or less acquired one striker and have paid over the odds for them, and West Ham have just swung this deal under the radar, and surprisingly, it's actually very shrewd business from West Ham, which is a weird thing to say about West Ham. They don't do shrewd business. They do really stupid business like last season. It's just been really good. It's just solid work. Like Joe Hart over in goal, sorts that problem out. And as you said, Chicharito is a solid signing. Marco is too. The problem is though, how optimistic do they become for the season? Like, how far can they go?
Well, they'll get a lot more optimistic than they've any kind of really right to. In typical West Ham kind of fashion, they improved while at the same time kind of shooting themselves in the foot. For instance, they signed Hart. Yeah, that's great. And then their chairman Sullivan immediately went and fucking shamed their current two keepers, including their star keeper, Adrian, by claiming that Hart is the best keeper he's ever worked with.
Despite never working with him.
Despite having never worked with him. And Adrian actually tweeted him going, hello, you've got two professionals here that are still going for it,
That's that must suck.
The thing about West Ham is that they were a bit too reliant on home form last season, and they've got a talented squad with players like they've added players like Chicharito, Arnautovic, alongside players like fucking Antonio Valencia, Lanzini, and Ayew. That's brilliant for them. But Bilic really struggled to get the best out of them last season. And I don't know, I don't see him doing it.
Yeah, I think they do have a ceiling in the sense of what kind of like league position they can get. Like I said, the signings they do have, I think will give them will make Joe Hart an individually good player, and will get like a good half of the goals for Chicharito. But generally, they wouldn't be consistent enough to really get a good footholding in the league. Like, they're gonna be in the midfield battle, there's no doubt. I don't even see them doing a real good cup run either. But they're gonna have spells. They're gonna have upset victories, and they're going to they really need to find the mojo they had when Bilic was in charge first time. But Bilic makes some very weird decisions tactically, and I think that can either give some players a new lease of life, or it can just fuck them up altogether. Like the first season it did for Payet and a few other players, but the second season it really messed people up. So in a sense that sure, you've got really good players in the side now, but now you have to play them properly, which I don't think Bilic really does. He does kind of tend to put square pegs around holes when he doesn't need to, where you could just be far more logical and sensible with your selection rather than being obtuse about it.
And also, they're very old square pegs that he's brought in.
Yes, that's true as well.
The average age of the players that he's brought in has been over 30. Hang on. You want to buy... I think even Sullivan even went out and stated that they are actually... They're going with a more short-term philosophy this season because planning for the future has never really worked out for them.
Live in the moment, I suppose, whenever it works.
Pretty much, yeah, I know. I mean, it's difficult to see. I mean, I think we're going to be looking forward to more post-match interviews with Bilic looking like a drunken, disgraced sea captain trying to explain why his ship capsized again.
I'm sorry, but the mental image has me in like a little wearing an admiral's hat as well, little pard on his shoulder, and he looks
with
a
pipe coming out of the corner of his mouth. Yeah,
and a glass eye. Yeah, it's perfect.
It's more like Popeye there, but
hey, it still works in fairness.
Yeah, I don't know, but the thing is, if I was a West Ham fan, and fortunately I'm not, but I do know a few, and I mentioned this to them, and they kind of went, "Oh yeah, you're probably right there." Is that when you look at that back line, their potential back four is going to be Creswell, Reed, Fonte, and Zabaleta.
Yeah,
I was like, wow, speed does not really crop the mind there.
Yeah,
it is going to be a slow ass back line, and particularly, well, let's say when we play them, can you imagine them trying to track down, say, like Theo Walcott or Sane or any kind of...
Like I said, Salah and Mane is going to have a fucking field day with them.
Oh my god, it's going to be like them racing around statues. They're going to be turning around going, the fucking training cones caught up with it faster than these cones do.
Oh, it's so true. Right, that's our club by club rundown then. So we'll crack on then with our always accurate look into the crystal football, as I used to call it once upon a time, but then I gave it up because it sounded stupid. So we're going to predict the Premier League table for this year. So Neil, would you like to go first?
Ooh, who would I think?
Yeah, well, I'd like to talk. I'd like you to start from the bottom and work your way up. If that's all right.
All right, 20. Who did I say? 20. That's Brighton, didn't I?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have Brighton relegated.
And also, fuck me, I really should have written this down.
do you want us to come back to you?
Yeah, please.
Okay,
yeah.
Burkball, you've got your table set up, haven't you?
Yeah.
Alright, so again, working from the bottom up.
From the bottom up, Brighton.
Yeah, so Brighton bottom, yeah.
Huddersfield.
Mm-hmm.
Burnley, aka Real Stoke.
Wait, okay, so you want Burnley's 18th, yes, just to confirm. New Stoke, yeah, perfect.
And then actual Stoke in 17th.
Will the real Stoke City please stand up? Yeah.
Swansea in 16th.
Mm-hmm.
Newcastle
in
15th.
Okay.
I made some changes as we've talked.
That's fair.
Watford, whoever they are.
Mm-hmm. The alleged Watford.
It remains to be seen if they exist, but if they do, West Brom in 13th.
Mm-hmm.
I think Rodriguez for them could be good for them staying up.
Yeah.
Bournemouth in 12th.
Right.
Southampton 11th.
Ooh, so doesn't make the top half. That's interesting.
Yeah, they were originally, but I made a switch. Crystal Palace make it into the top half.
Wow, that's a good shout.
Leicester City 9th.
Mm-hmm.
Although I could see Crystal Palace and Leicester City switching.
Okay.
West Ham I have switched into 8th.
Well.
I see them doing, kind of scrappy wins, but wins nonetheless.
All right.
Everton 7. The perpetual Everton and 7.
Yeah. Now this is the interesting part. The top 6. Who is 6th place?
Spuds in 6th.
Well. And I presume your reason for that is for
pure hatred.
I don't know what else I was expecting. I should have expected that, but I didn't.
No, and logically and emotions and common sense aside, I suppose. Spurs, I can't see them being as good as they were last season.
Okay.
Man City 5th.
Ooh, that's a big call. What has you saying that?
I don't know. There's a lot of signings going, a lot of change-ups going into the team. Are they going to hit the ground running? Who knows? They obviously have the players on paper and the manager on paper, but are they actually good enough as a combined thing?
Interesting.
Top 4 then, and I'm willing to be disproved in this, but Arsenal.
Okay.
4th, as is tradition normally.
Yeah, such is the life.
Chelsea 3rd.
Right.
And Liverpool 2nd, Man United 1st.
Well. That's very, very interesting. So you're really genuine. You are okay. Yeah. Sorry, I was nearly showing my hand there, but yeah. So you're going for a Mourinho Championship win. How awful does that feel saying that?
It's purely based on terrible gut feeling.
Yeah. It is,
Not
isn't
really.
it? It is a sense of it's ominous, isn't it, when you feel it?
An impending doom.
Yes, it is. That's exactly
What
what it
makes you
is.
feel any better? I can remember one of these predictions where I was like, no, I can remember saying, oh, I think Jose Mourinho will win it because that's the last thing I absolutely wanted to happen, and he wound up getting sacked.
Well, there you go. That's hope for us all, isn't it? If we all combine our powers and hope that and in fear that Jose Mourinho wins the title, and you end up Mike just losing his job and going away forever. Let's just hope. Let's all collectively dream that. So Neil, then I'll come back to you. Then have you got your league table?
I'm midway through. I really should have written this down before this.
Okay, I'll come back to you then and give you my one. So my again starting off in the bottom half, 20 upwards. Brighton is unfortunately my bottom team. So we've all gone for Brighton to stand up the table. Huddersfield, again, I also think is going to get relegated. My 18th place team, though, is Stoke City. So I do genuinely think that from whatever the kind of first of all, the quality football is gone. The signings are very poor. There's nothing exciting about them either. They're just it's Fletcher fucking Choupo-Moting. They're not exciting players that's going to set the team on fire. There's no real spark there from Shaqiri. There's nothing from Allen. Berahino is not doing anything either. It's just a team that's stuck in the fucking mud. And quite honestly, they don't have anything to live for, really.
The same bottom 3.
So you have the same bottom 3 as well. So you're going for...
Yeah.
Well, again, that's not necessarily surprising to me, but, it's weird that we've all kind of been on the same wavelength with that. In that case, then I'll continue on with my one. So I do think that Burnley's going to survive. They're going to be 17th. Above them is going to be Swansea, Watford, and West Brom. So West Brom's going to be 14th. And this is where it gets all a bit mushy for me, because I think these are all going to be quite interchangeable. It's going to be like how it was last season, where 9th and 15th were separated by 3 points and a fart. So I think Crystal Palace is going to be 13th. I feel like it's going to take a while for De Boer's tactics to go through, so they might have a slow start, or they might fall apart at the end, something like that. I think Newcastle's going to finish 12th, and the reason I'm saying that is because, again, they're going to have a slow start, but I think the recruitment will get there in the end, and they'll finish quite strongly. West Ham 11th. Again, that's a steady position for them, I think, because I don't think they're not great shakes better than the teams above them. I think Leicester will be 10th. Southampton 9th, and I think Bournemouth are going to be 8th. I think Bournemouth are going to be the best of the rest in terms of the clubs because they play the best football. They've done the best business in my view in the season, and I don't think they're going to do any better than that. Everton obviously 7th, but this is where things get a bit controversial because for me 6th place is going to be Chelsea.
Ooh.
Now, again, I believe that there's something not right at Chelsea between Conte, Abramovich and the players. I get the feeling that Conte is going to be leaving halfway through the season and is going to be replaced by someone who is going to get them back on track. But unfortunately, I think they're only going to achieve 6th place with the team they have at the moment. I don't think Hazard is going to play at the same level he was. I don't think Kante is. Courtois, I think, is going to struggle. Morata is going to struggle for goals. They will eventually snap back and get back to winning ways, but much like the Mourinho season last time out, it's going to be the same thing. It's just that perpetual hangover that they have after a title win. With that in mind, I think 5th place is going to be Spurs.
Okay.
Because home form, simple as that. They might do good in the Champions League, they might do good in League Cups and stuff like that. They might still play very good football, but I don't think they're going to play with the same bravado and confidence that they had when they were at White Hart Lane. So that's why I think they're going to finish 5th. 4th place is going to be Arsenal, because again, I think Lacazette is going to make a massive difference for you guys. So is Kolasinac and whoever else you get in. The signings are going to make a difference for Arsenal, and perhaps just relatively how other teams are doing around them. Liverpool going to be 3rd, because again, I think that's a good progression for them to have. And then 2nd place is going to be Man City, and champions are going to be Man United, because I more or less have the best team set up for them. So yeah, I think they're going to win quite healthily as well at that.
Nice.
So what was your top 6 again?
My top 6 was in 1st Man United, 2nd Man City, 3rd Liverpool, 4th Arsenal, 5th Spurs and 6th Chelsea.
Alright then.
So Neil, it's your turn now. We already have your bottom 3, which is Brighton, Huddersfield and Stoke.
Right. 17th is Swansea.
Okie dokie.
Okay.
16th is Newcastle.
Yep.
15th is Burnley.
Then New Stoke.
Burnley.
Real Stoke.
Yeah, Real Stoke. 14th was Watford.
Okie dokie.
Who?
Yeah, you know them. You know.
13th was the Pulis World Order. West Brom.
West Brom, yeah.
12th is Palace. 11th is Bournemouth.
Yeah.
Okay.
10th is West Ham. 9th will be Leicester.
Ooh.
8th will be Southampton.
Yeah.
7th will of course be Everton.
And they forever will be Everton.
Yeah. 6th will be Spurs.
Ooh. So, same, more or less the same logic that yourself and Burpot has then. Pure hatred.
Yeah, I don't. Well, it's a combination of utter hatred, of course, and also I don't think I don't think it'll work.
Fair enough.
I don't think what he's going for will work.
Very well then. 5th place then is
5th will be Liverpool, but I will caveat that with cup wins.
Okay, fair. I'll accept that.
4th will be the Scum.
Oh, that's interesting. What has you saying
You
that?
will be 4th. I think they'll just get in because of sheer Jose bloody mindedness.
Okay.
3rd will be Arsenal.
Okay.
I think Chelsea will be 2nd. And my logic behind that is that I think they're going to crash out of Europe and all the cup competitions hyper early.
Alright, that's an interesting turn.
Yeah, I think he's going to feel the kiddies. And so yeah, and that means I think that City will win it.
That is interesting.
Purely because like there is no team in the league that are under more pressure to win it than City.
I go along with that actually. I mean, you could argue that United are under the same pressure because this is this season that Mourinho does it, but I can accept your point of view as well. Like Guardiola has to win to vindicate himself.
Like he is spunked $500 million in a year, essentially a whole new team, and it's, while I did say earlier on it still looked a bit dog shit in places, and it does.
Yeah.
I think it'll carry it. I think the pressure will just basically help them along.
Well, it's not even that. It just forced their hand. They have to play. They have to be champion. Even as you said, even at the sacrifice of other competitions. They need to win the Premier League to prove it. It's
do or die for them. Certainly is for fucking Guardiola.
Yeah. Well, that's it then, folks. That's our end of season preview. So like I said, we will be we'll be back shortly with another podcast. I'm not sure if we're going to be doing it week by week. We probably won't because we all are very busy people. But we are certainly going to be back for a deadline day special where we're going to go through the business of all the clubs and how do you think they've done? Do they need more? But otherwise, the football is starting soon, guys. We should sit back and enjoy it.
Not so much joy, but yeah.
Well, something's going to happen. Well, at least Arsenal's the first game. We will experience it. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. Right, until our next podcast, whenever that may be, folks. I've been Jonathan. That has been Neil. That has been Burkbot. We'll see you all next time. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.